give me fire, give me that which I desire. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
What's going on, everybody? We are at Indianapolis tonight for HTL's iRacing League in the Next Gen cars. I am joined in the booth tonight with Terry Gabbard and Ryan Pinnell. You may know them over from the ARCS League and a couple other leagues there. But Ryan, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
All right, Ryan, we're here tonight at Indianapolis. I'm not sure what's going to happen tonight. The conditions are looking temperature-wise, pretty nice. 69 degrees for out temp, but road temp is 89. So it's not going to be too bad on track. But from what I'm hearing from the drivers, it's supposed to be really, really slick in 1 and 2. They said it's kind of like going in on an all-four wheel slide on ice. So I'm not sure what's happening with turn 1, but there's going to be some pretty high speeds going into that turn. So that could be the challenge once they get going, get through that first lap and get up to speed going into lap 2 into turn 1 may be the treacherous part of this. So hopefully once the tires start getting a little bit more worn, the grip level maybe comes up a little bit, but I don't know what's going to happen tonight. The drivers are a little confusing to me, so not really sure. They're saying this car is really hard to drive. I don't know if you have any experience at Indianapolis, do you?
No, not with this car. We've run we've run the Gen 6, but we have not run the next gen yet at Indianapolis. So I can imagine that the drivers are probably struggling a little bit and a little worried, and it's definitely going to be slick. We've seen that throughout, the races we have run this year. So excited to get the race going and see who can hang on to these things with a loose condition.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. I am not sure what's gonna happen here, but we've got a lot of things going on. So I'll put the race details up. Tonight's the Brickyard 200, or the Brickyard 80, if you want to call it that. But we got 80 laps tonight. Things to watch on track as Dustin Hall won last season's race. He led every single lap. One incident was caused in season 1 when they ran this track. Or one incident caution. They do have stage breaks. Middle of the corners are very tight and very light usually. So it kind of gets the back end gets loose on them and they're sliding around in turn 1 and 2. Turn 3 and 4, from what I heard from a couple drivers, if you get loose coming out of 3 and 4, it's probably more skill level based and not the track actually putting problems. But this is the second crown jewel race of the season for these guys, and it's the final round of April Absurdity. I'll bring that up here. I know you guys don't know what's going on here, but this April Absurdity, they've run 5 races this month, and every race has been designated where you are battling one other driver on track. It's not based on points. It's not based on stage points. It's not based on anything like that. This was set from the first race of the season, I believe, based on the points at that time when they started the April Absurdity, and they layered out everybody out like a March Madness theory or style tournament, and they have weekly battled each driver. So if you are, say, the 78 tonight or the 21 who are both fighting in this, all you have to do is finish in front of that 21. That is it. That will be the $50 prize is what they're going for this April Absurdity. It's been pretty nuts watching each driver try to focus on stage points, try to focus on finishing the race in a certain position or standings, getting those points building up through for the standings that they're working on for the season, and then obviously also trying to pay attention who they're battling in each race to try to finish in front of that person and make it through. And these lucky two, or warriors, I guess is what you want to call it, because they have been battling hard against a lot of good drivers, and these guys have made it to the finals, and we're going to see what happens tonight with these guys. Talking about the points, though, Ryan and Terry, this thing has been all over the place. We've had drivers that have been first in points that are now in 10th. We've had drivers that were, in 21st that are up in the top 10 now. These first 6, 7 races have been a lot of different issues for different drivers. One week you may be at the front, one week you're at the back. It's just not been very consistent. The only guy who's really been that consistent has been Blake Henderson. He's been scoring a lot of points in stages and throughout the races at the end of the races. So it's going to be close here. I don't know who's going to come down. We've got, I don't know, 8 or 9 more races till the playoffs start. So it's going to get really competitive here. Ryan, have you known, or Terry, have you guys known any of the drivers that are currently in the roster tonight? I don't know if you guys are looking at the lineup for tonight.
Yeah, I know that I do. Dylan McDonald runs with us over in ARCS. And then of course, you and Pete call our Saturday night showdown races. So yeah, there's definitely some familiar faces over here. So looking forward to seeing those guys out there on the track and see how they can do. But yeah, I love the bracket style head to head thing. That's really cool. May have to talk to Terry and see if we can't do something like that over in ARCS. That's a really good idea, and never thought of it. So shout out to them for coming up with that idea. Really cool to add a different element, to the race on top of stage points and obviously victories is to watch that bracket as well. It's really cool.
Yeah, when they came up with this, I've never seen it in any other league I've ever broadcasted or raced in myself, even on the console side. I've never seen it. So when they came up with the idea, I was like, wow, definitely adds a whole new element that guys got to pay attention to. There's like 8 different things you got to pay attention to on track. Now you got to worry about finishing in front of one person, let alone a whole field of people trying to win the race.
Yeah, when we started doing this like 2 years ago, one of the things that always happens with us is you always struggle to keep the guys your field count as big as it can be. This is a really good idea by this league to take something and just put one guy versus another guy. It gives incentive to come and race every single week, and it'll keep those field size large. I think it's a really good idea, Ryan. We ought to do something like that.
Well, so tonight is Greg Wood in the 78, and Alfred Denny in the 21. That's who will be in the finale for the April Absurdity coming down to tonight. They both come from the same team. They're both from the Deep Racing team in this league. So one team is going to beat out all the other teams for this finale, and two of the drivers of that team is going to battle it out tonight. But Greg has really clawed his way through every matchup. He has had probably the worst side of the entire bracket, battling some really, really hard drivers to get through here. Alfred, not saying he hasn't, done his part of beating people, but he's quote from some of the people said that he might have been coasting a little bit through here. He's very patient, so he kind of waits till the end to kind of move up through. Now, I mean, that doesn't really sound like a bad strategy to me. So that's what he's done, and he's made it to the finale. I mean, if you make it to the finale, does it really matter how you get there?
No, not at all. I mean, you got to do what you got to do to beat that other driver, and that's what he's done. So shout out to him, and really cool to have two drivers of the same team in the finale. So I'm sure they're probably bickering a little bit in the team chat. Maybe a little, uh, pre-race bets between the two of them, but I'm sure they got a little bit more on their mind. But definitely something to keep on the back of their mind throughout this race.
Well, looks like qualifying has just started to wrap up here. So it looks like Alistair Kirk is going to be our pole sitter tonight at Indianapolis, driving that 51 machine. He's missed the last 2 weeks due to timing, and he just couldn't get here. But Alfred Denny, that one we were just talking about for the finale for the April Absurdity, is going to be starting second. Matt Boone looks like he's going to be third. Wes Fuller fourth. Blake Henderson, owner and admin, is going to be fifth. And actually, does it look like they're still... Never mind. Qualifying is not over. They still got 3 minutes left, so I will back that completely out and see who finishes up front here. Got a little premature on that one.
Yeah, that 53-1, that's going to be really hard for these drivers to catch up to. It looks like the outside pole is about 0.3 of a second, Ryan, off of that pole time. So Alistair Kirk is definitely on rails. It looks like from watching these guys qualify, though, they're having a whole lot of trouble out of 4. And this car is definitely one of those cars that it's really shaky and iffy. The car can be really good in one corner and really, really bad, Ryan, out of that next corner.
Yeah, I mean, we've witnessed that in our season, and one place you don't want to get loose or lose the car off of is turn 4. I mean, as both of y'all know, that pit road entrance wall is sitting there waiting for you. So you got to really make sure you keep that car going straight coming off turn 4. I mean, coming off turn 2, it's not quite as big of a deal. You have a little bit of runoff there on the inside, but coming off turn 4, if you lose that thing and you're not careful, you will meet the pit road entrance wall pretty quick.
Yeah, I've definitely found myself pinned into that inside wall a few times coming off of 4. Not necessarily on my own doing. I might have had some help going down to that inside wall, but nonetheless, I've definitely put myself pretty far into the wall at Indy. But I don't know. I don't know who to pick for tonight. I don't know who you guys are looking at. Maybe if it's a familiar face or if it's a newcomer that you're looking at. I've kind of been pushing this person for the last week because I've known him for several years. He's a hometown kid of Indy. He has been to Indianapolis multiple times. His profile picture on Discord is him actually kissing the bricks at Indy. So I don't normally like to do this, and I know with Pete on Saturdays we usually tend to try to not do it. So I'm not going to pick this person because I'm not going to jinx him for tonight, but he knows who he is. But I will pick somebody else because maybe it'll help him out. So I will go with tonight. I'll go with the 25 Blake Henderson. He seems to be really fast tonight. He's in 5th in qualifying right now. He's actually the points leader, point standing leader. So if it does hurt him, sorry Blake. But who do each one of you want to pick out?
Well, they say that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. But when I look at a guy who's qualifying 3.5 tenths better than the rest of the field,
it gives you a pretty good clue.
Yeah, it's probably really easy to take that 51 of Alistair Kirk. That car looks really fast. And even the third place driver is a good 5.5 tenths, Ryan, off of that time. And so we definitely got a case on our hands of a guy that gets this track and gets this car. But as we see these guys qualify, this car's tricky. It could be really good one lap and really bad the next. And so you just really never know. It's going to take some endurance for these drivers to make it through 80 laps here at Indy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I would have to say my pick would be Dylan McDonald, former, fellow ARCS teammate. So he helped us out Saturday night, filled in for Pete and yourself. So he's always helped us out over there on the ARC side. So I'd like to see him finish well tonight. That's the thing about these races. Just stay clean and you'll be there at the end. So looking to see what that 38 car can do.
Well, he definitely he has a win already this season, so he's up in the top of the points here. He should be pretty fast. He did miss a race a couple weeks ago, which dropped him a little bit in the points, but he should be all right, I think, to be able to get back up through. And all you have to do is finish in the top 12 to make it to the playoffs. He's already won a race. He's been pretty consistent, so I would probably look to see him be pretty consistent the rest of the season to be up here at the front to be making the playoffs, but he could be really fast tonight. I don't know if he's very good at this track or not. I know he's usually pretty consistent. He puts in a lot of time. I think he's qualifying 8 tonight. So let's go ahead and switch over to the race screen here and look at the gridding. So for the grid, we've got on the pole, Alistair Kirk, the 51, that Terry went ahead and swiped the fastest guy out of qualifying. Alfred Denny sitting 2nd. Matt Boone sitting 3rd. Wes Fuller, teammate of Matt Boone, sitting 4th. Blake Henderson, owner admin, sitting 5th. Angel Santiago, 10th in the points currently, sitting 6th. Greg Wood Jr., the one that's facing off against Alfred Denny tonight in April Absurdity, is going to be starting 7th. Dylan McDonald, who you just picked, Ryan, is going to be starting 8th. Marcus Chafin, 9th. Matt Smith, 10th. Ryan, would you like to take 5 more?
Yeah, of course. Starting 10th, you have, 9th is Marcus Chafin. I think you said that. I think they just changed. Matthew Smith in 10th, Ryan Motre in 11th. 12th will be Hunter Whitlock. The 41 of Zachary Epperson in 13th. Kevin Gibney Jr. in 14th. And Corey Kobe starting in 15th.
All right, Terry, you want to take the rest here?
Yeah, hopefully I got this right. It looks like Bryce Boyer going to start outside of that 8th row in 16th. Gary Donaldson, 17th in the 22 car. The 23 of David Anderson, he's going to start 18th. The 19th is going to be that 51. Oh, nope. It looks like I went all the way back to the beginning. So that's going to be your cars, boys.
Yeah, it should be pretty interesting tonight who can actually make it through this. From what I hear, that, like I said, turn 1 and 2 seem to be the most trickiest for guys in practice. So we'll see what happens here once they get a lot of cars. Qualifying can be a little different. Single car out there running some laps. You can really push it and maybe get yourself loose, like you guys said, coming out of turn 4. But a pile of cars next to you may be a little different going into 1. They are coming into turn 3 here. Once they come out of turn 4, we will be ready to go as they're on 1 to green. This should be very interesting to see what happens. There will be some points tonight where I will make a commercial break, and then I have also a surprise for tonight as well that I'll announce once we're a little bit into the race that I've kind of built up tonight to see what everybody thinks of it. But Ryan, Terry, we're going to come off of turn 4 here. I really appreciate you guys jumping in the booth. I know it was kind of last minute. Really appreciate you guys coming in and giving some expertise. You guys are drivers. I'm not what I would call a driver for iRacing. I can make do with what I got on track, but nowhere near the level of skill you guys have. So bringing that expertise, I really appreciate it. And we'll see what happens here tonight on track.
Ryan, the 51 is going to have the start. It looks like the 21 is going to be on the outside. 51 gets a nice launch. The 21 already finds himself in the second row.
This is that tricky turn 1. We'll see who makes it through here. I'm not seeing any cautions yet. I don't see anybody around, so this could be a good thing. But I did hear everybody saying that turn 1 wouldn't be too bad on the initial start because they're not up to speed. But that massive run that they get down that whole front stretch all the way to turn 1, that's when they'll have a problem, is lap 2 from what I'm hearing. So we'll see what happens here as we're going to come around turn 3 and 4 and get ready to start up again to go into that tricky turn 1.
Somebody better check the 51. That car has checked out coming back to the start-finish line. He is very fast. Terry said, he was going to pick him. I feel like he cheated a little bit, but that 51 car is on rails right now.
Closest battle here, boys, for 7th place. It looks like Dylan McDonald in the 6th place position is going to battle against Angel Santiago. Still learning these names. We're going to get better by the end of 80 laps, though, for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely some names in here. It took me a little bit to get used to, but yeah, there's a lot of different drivers in here that are very good. I've known several of these guys from different leagues over the years, even from console side. And then obviously there's some new guys that I've never heard of, never seen before, but they're just as good as anybody else on track. And there's a lot of competition all over the place.
Yeah, they're battling all over the track. I mean, even back in 11th, 12th, and 13th, Kevin Gimney Jr. in the 31. They are all over each other, but so far everybody's keeping it straight, keeping it clean. You got to be a little bit patient here, but everybody's doing good so far.
Looks like that battle for second is really heated right now.
Caution.
DP. Sorry, bud.
Looks like it's going to be Ryan Moutre is going to be part of this. David Anderson's going to be part of this. And Corey Kobe also going to be part of this. And I'm also seeing another car. Gary Donaldson is going to be involved. Bryce Boyer is also involved in this one. So let's go back and take a look here. We'll try to go back as far as we can and find the original part of this. I think it might have started with Bryce Boyer. All right, so as we go into the turn, let's see who comes out of this spinning.
Yeah, it looks like the 22 almost made it through, but the 10 overcorrected, spun, and caught the 22. But, yeah, I didn't see the 2 that started the whole thing coming into turn 1.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I would say he definitely overcorrected on that one. It's some of these next-gen cars we've seen have been kind of snappy with that pinion. Is they try to, in the old cars you could try to correct it by going the opposite direction of where you're spinning and then straightening it back out. But with these pinion racks that they got on these next gen cars, even in real life they have trouble with them. Once they start getting loose, they just kind of snap on them when they're trying to correct it. But that was definitely, I would say, a mistake on overcorrecting.
Yeah, it looked like it was the 44 of Ryan Motre. Hopefully I said his name right. But yeah, you could see he just gets loose, gets in the grass, and then overcorrects, and then unfortunately collects the one of Bryce Bauer. So both of those cars look like they're in pretty rough shape. They're going to have to probably use their one fast repair, and they're going to have to be super careful through the next 76, 75 laps we have left in this race.
You know, we run officials a lot when you do iRacing, and some of those, as you get higher up, there isn't any fast repairs. And I told somebody the other day, it's almost a blessing in your brain when you don't have a fast repair, because you know everybody's on the same boat. These guys that have had to use that at the very beginning of this race are in a bad situation, because you got to be very careful. Any mistake is going to end your race. So some of these guys are going to have to kind of bounce back and hope that there's some other issues so that they can be a little bit more aggressive towards the end of this race.
Yeah, I like the idea of no fast repairs myself. Yeah, I think the mindset that you go into knowing that this is your only car, you don't want to be as aggressive as you can be with that safety harness of that one fast repair maybe. So I think, yeah, most drivers will look at it and say, well, I don't want to be this aggressive and take them out or myself out or the rest of the field. They want to try to help each other and take care of each other, because you never know when somebody else is going to be aggressive on you the next race or 5 races from now, or championship playoff standings race or something like that, where it could definitely pay dividends if you're not as aggressive on all kinds of different drivers.
Yeah, it looks like I'm looking at the 22 of Gary Donaldson right now, still sitting on pit road. So not sure if maybe he forgot to check that fast repair or thought he could get those repairs done without taking it, but he is still sitting on pit road. So unfortunate for that 22. It's always a hard decision, Terry. Me and you have to deal with it. You get damage. It's that fine line. Do you try and fix it and see if you can get it fixed without using that fast repair, or do you just go ahead and use the fast repair? So looks like the 22 may have made the wrong decision, as he is still sitting on pit road, 1 lap down, probably going to go another lap down here, trying to fix that damage from that wreck.
How would you guys like to talk to Terry's pick, Alistair, since he pretty much dusted the field on that restart? We'll try to pull him in the booth, and Terry, you could tell him you picked him tonight, because he's probably going to say why, so he doesn't get wrecked. But that's usually what they're saying. Usually when I say I picked him, they're like, "Why'd you pick me? I don't want to wreck." But I will pull him in here and see what he says. First. Yeah. Alistair, you got a copy, buddy?
Hi, mate. You okay?
All right, bud. Terry in the booth with me picked you tonight as you were the fastest in qualifying, and you completely dusted the field on that restart. Terry, you got any questions for Alistair here?
Yeah, you ran about, 3/10 faster than the rest of the field on that qualifying lap. And so just based on qualifying, I'm like, I'm going to pick that guy. You looked real good at the start. Don't want to give you the commentator's curse. I know this car's a little difficult to drive.
Yeah, no, it's we were saying it before Tombstone. We were saying that it's kind of a European track. A lot of Europeans come here and they do quite well, and it's just it's been the same for me really. I've been practicing really hard today, and it's just been showing. Just been nice and smooth, and just taking it as it comes. So,
Alistair, what time is it where you're at?
About 2 a.m.
I thought so. That's dedication to a league, showing up at 2 a.m. to race a league race here.
Yeah, I got work in about 5 hours, but it is what it is. So.
All right, well, you're coming to green. I will send you back down to Tombstone's chat there, and good luck, bud. Doesn't seem like you need any help with the speed, so good luck.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Well, Terry and Ryan, he seems like he is ready to go here, as he is getting ready to fasten those seatbelts a little bit tighter again on this restart and see if he can get that jump and giant lead that he had already within the first 3 or 4 laps here.
Yeah, I love that accent. You got to love commitment. 2 a.m. Got to work in 5 hours. None of that matters. He's going to come out here and try and win here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and he gets a great jump already and is already pulling away, Terry, from the rest
It's
of
a
the field.
second and a half.
Yeah.
The 25 of Blake Henderson jumps underneath the 5. There's the battle for second. It looks like the 25 is going to win that argument. He's going to take over second place. But Alistair Kirk, like you said, he is off to the races. That car is super fast. These guys have some catching up to do, but there's a lot of laps to learn about this track, learn what your car is going to do. A lot of these guys maybe just hoping for some green flag runs so they can see what they got.
Yeah, as much as I want to pay attention to Alistair up there, I almost feel like I need to pay attention to the rest of the field because Alistair's just gone from everybody. I mean, he's almost broke out to a 2-second lead already, and that's 1 lap after the restart. That's insane amount of speed that he has pulled on the rest of the field. But as these guys get lined out and they start getting the draft, Indianapolis does pull a lot of drafts, and if you can get enough cars in line, you may be able to pull right back up to that leader. But the way that Alistair's running, I don't know if you could put 5-10 cars together and catch him.
Yeah, it's going to take at least 5 or 6 cars in a single file line as they're 3 wide back in about 6th, 7th, and 8th fighting on the back straightaway. This is really impressive racing. The 83 of Matthew Boone trying his best in that Monster Energy Ford Mustang. Ford, obviously, my pick. That's what I race, so I love to see a Ford running good up there in 9th.
Somebody just spun off.
Yes, one
think
slow
that's
down
Blake.
on the front stretch.
Ryan, you called that at the beginning of the race before we even started. You said if you're going to get loose off of turn 4, that pit road wall is waiting for you. The 25 of Blake Henderson, extremely loose off of 4, nearly was forced down pit road, and that could have been a big problem for him. He's going to lose some spots here, but it looks like he's able to keep it back together. No damage for that 25. He'll try to move his way back up.
Yeah, 25 of Blake, I don't know how he saved it without hitting the pit wall and going down pit road there, but it was close. But he's able to stick in there, and now he's going to be back in 14th. He was second after that lap, and now back in the middle of the field. Going to have to try to work his way back up through. He seems to be fast, but let's see if he can actually make it back through. Indy's not a place where you can make a lot of moves on people. You got to really carry that momentum, carry the draft into the corners, and maybe either get down or try to cross them over coming out of a corner and carry as much speed as you can down the straightaway to make that next move into the next turn.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, you got to have momentum and then come out of that turn, whether it be turn 2 or turn 4, carry that momentum and make that pass on the front or back straightaway. And you'll see cars, dip down in front of the cars in front of them, trying to pass them. That really is the best passing opportunity. And it's not even that you'll pass them on the back stretch or front stretch, but you put yourself in a great opportunity to be on that inside line coming into, whether it be turn 1, turn 3, or, turn 2 and 4. Obviously, this is a very different racetrack than what we're used to running, Terry. We're used to 4 corners, and this is more like a rectangle. So different track with these next gens. It's definitely a challenge with the setup and how these cars drive, but look like we got a pretty decent green flag run going so far.
Yeah, and once these cars start to get spread out, the option for a caution is going to be less and less. Not quite sure of what this league's caution rules are. So if it's 1 car, 2 cars, 3 cars, not quite sure. But we know, cautions breed cautions, but the lack of cautions can tend to lead to lack of cautions. And so right now these cars are getting spread out. Wanted to point out the number 38, Dylan McDonald, now up to 3rd place. This is one of the faster cars on the track, Ryan. We're not really used to dealing with these custom setups. And so some of these guys, they kind of landed right. Some of them didn't. It just kind of depends on how the setups of these cars work out.
Well, these guys here actually run fixed setups, so they're all running identical setups based on what the admins put into the system. I don't know if they went and found a setup or if they're using the base. I don't think they're using the base, but these guys usually during the week they'll work out a setup and then implement it for everybody to use. I know they'll tweak it a little bit here or there, but it's open for all of them to use. So. Some guys just may have a handle on it a little bit quicker than others. Dylan, like I said, he's been very, very fast, very consistent. Every race that he's been in, I think he's missed only one race so far, but he's still in the top 10 in points. But I mean, he's always consistent. I mean, I watch him over in the ARC series with you guys, and I mean, I've picked him once or twice over there. And when I saw his name over here, I was like, I know that's the same Dylan. And the admins over here was like, oh, no, he doesn't race other leagues. This is the only league he's in. I'm like, I'm telling you, I watch him in the 38 in a truck series race on Saturdays. So when I talked to Dylan, he was like, oh, yeah, that's me. I'm like, okay, I thought it was you. You drove the same way. You're just as fast over here. So I like seeing the 38 moving up through the field. I try not to pick him always because I just don't want to give him that commentator's curse. But the races I have not picked him, he's been at the front or in the top 3.
Well, I picked him for sure, and he is in third, and still a ways away from that 51. That 51's in a different zip code, but you know, I felt like I had to pick Dylan. He picked me Saturday night at Talladega, and I ended up winning that race. So I got to return the favor. You know, I feel like he can get it done. He's definitely going to have to get that thing dialed in if he wants to catch the 51. But he looks like he's doing pretty good running in third, and Wes Fuller in second. I don't know if that's the same one that helped him out call the race Saturday, but I know there was.
Wes and Dylan drive together a lot, so they're on teams all over the place together apparently, but they're not on a team in this league.
Got you. Well, I'm pretty sure Wes actually helped Dylan call the race Saturday, so good to see Wes and Dylan second and third right now. Obviously, you know, almost 6 seconds back from that 51, but great racing for second and third, and then you got the 78 and the 21 pretty close to each other racing for that bracket spot.
Ryan, last time by.
Yeah, this should be the stage break.
Well, and that might be good news for some of these guys. I want to talk about the 78 of Greg Wood. 54.367. That was the fastest driver on the track that last lap. And so Alistair Kirk ran a 53.451. That's a really fast lap compared to the rest of the field. But some of these guys, especially the 38 and the 5th place driver of Greg Wood, they ran faster laps. And so as these tires start to wear out, they might have something for him. But, man, what a huge lead that the 51 is able to get out to in the short run.
Yeah, Alistair's been on rails. I don't know how much time he's put in, but clearly he's put in enough time to where he's figured out the setup, he's figured out the track, and he has not looked back from the start. He's led every lap of the session so far, and unless somebody else can figure out something quickly, I don't know if anybody can compete with him. I think you're really going to have to really stick with him in turn 1 and be on his back bumper or on his door going into turn 1 to even have a little bit of a chance to beat him out of turn 2, because once he gets out of turn 1, it's like he's shot out of a cannon. He's just gone.
Yeah, if you're in second, I mean, first of all, you got to time the restart perfectly. Obviously, you know, he's the leader, so he's got the restart, but if you're in second, you got to make sure you watch, you know, and listen for his motor to take off and try and take off right there with him. I mean, we've seen him that last restart. He had almost a second lead before they even got to turn 1. So second place, Wes Fuller, if he ends up in second after pit stops here, he's going to have to listen and really do good to try and stay side by side with that 51 going into turn 1.
Yeah, out there in chat, I see actually Wes's mom out there. She jumps in every once in a while, and she roots all the time for Wes and Dylan. So those two, like I said, Dylan has told me and Wes has told me that they're usually always paired up together on teams in a lot of different leagues. But this league I don't know why, for some reason they decided to split up. Wes actually joining with Corey Kobe, Matt Boone, and Shad Swatsworth, who's not in the race tonight, and then Dylan over in another team, 1776 Motorsports. So I don't know why they didn't join together in this series, since they seem to always be together. But Mama Fuller is still out there giving praise to both of those two and rooting them both on.
It looks
Absolutely.
like, guys, the top 14 or 15 came down pit road. And so there's going to be a few drivers stay out. I don't think we've had enough green flag laps for these guys to be a lap down. And it looks like
it's going to be Greg Wood and Matt Steven.
Yeah, Matt Steven and Gary Donaldson, they're going to stay out. This is going to be big for these guys, I think. There's not a whole lot of green flag laps on these tires, maybe 9 or maybe 8 or 9. And so you got 3 cars out here. This might be really good for the leader of Greg Wood if he can keep that 51 behind a couple of these cars. That's going to be really hard on the short run.
Yeah,
Good luck's all I can say.
Yeah, that's a strategy right there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the 22 of Gary Donaldson looks like he's 2 laps down, so he looks like he may be trying to get a wave around. The 44 of Ryan Motre looks like he got the lucky dog, so he will be back on the lead lap. But yeah, that's a very bold strategy from the 78 of Greg Wood and the 98 of Matthew Steven. That 51 is fast, and you know he pitted. You know he took tires of some sort. Maybe just 2 tires, but considering that there is 5 sets, so I'm assuming 1 set on the car and then 4 on pit road. I'm assuming everybody probably took 4 tires. It's kind of silly to not take 4 tires unless you're trying to play some strategy, but we'll see what the 78 and 98 have to say about that. But I think they're going to be in the way of that 51 car.
There's actually a few of them. Matt Steven came down on the first caution, but it looks like he only took fuel. He was in pits for 5.1 seconds, so to me that's only a fuel run. So he's on 18-lap-old tires now. Obviously, we did have the first caution where they ran 3 pace laps, so it's not fully on there, and plus these pace laps here. But Greg Wood did not come down pit road early on, so he is still without the amount of fuel that he needs to go the rest of the distance so that these guys can. And then I'm seeing also Bryce Boyer. He was only in pits for 9.4 seconds this time. So to me, that's only a 2-tire stop or just fuel, which seems a little bit of a weird strategy to me. The rest of the field looks like they were in long enough to get 4 tires and fuel and maybe fix some damage for some of the other guys. But I don't know some of these strategies. I don't know really how bad the tires are. From what I was hearing from the drivers early on, they were saying 30 to 35 laps was the fuel run. So you got to think Greg Wood out there with 18 laps on his. Now, granted, he's been able to save a little bit on these 2 cautions here, or the first caution was an incident caution, and now the stage brake caution. But it's not like he's going to be able to go too much further. He's only going to maybe get another 15 laps out of that fuel run. And we are coming 1 to green as they go through 3 and 4. We'll see who's been able to survive through this. Alistair Kirk back there in 7th now. He hasn't had to deal with any traffic as he was the leader at the start of the race and led after the first caution. He's led every lap, but I don't know what his car is going to look like back in traffic. If he's going to be that much faster than everybody, is he going to be trying to make moves that maybe he shouldn't be making this early? We'll see what happens here, but they're going to get ready to go green again, Ryan and Terry. This can get very interesting for guys that are on old tires, and then the fastest car on track by a lot, Alistair Kirk back there in the middle of the field now.
Yeah, the 51 I think is going to make some moves here. He almost has to with those fresh tires. Got some people in front of him, maybe on 2 tires, maybe just fuel, but I think he's going to make the moves.
Alistair just took it 3 wide in turn 1.
And he does as they go 3 wide. He is on rails trying to get back to the front, get that fresh air.
I was going to point that out. Watch him take it 3 wide. Not a normal thing that you would normally see drivers do. Trying to figure out where he ended up. Still looks like he's a little bit buried behind these drivers. And this might be what the rest of the field needs to kind of keep this driver behind them. They're going to give up the bottom. He's going to take it 3 wide again almost, Ryan. This is some good racing by the 51. We're watching him try to get back through the pack.
51's going to get turned.
We got
He's into the 21.
51 is involved. Man.
And that's what I was worried about with him being so fast. I mean, even on fresh tires, with everybody else being on fresh tires, he was still a half second faster than everybody before this. So I was kind of worried about him being, back in this middle of the field and guys who might have been a second off of his time compared to the second or third guy that was only a half second off, and how much room he was going to have to make some moves. And he was definitely throwing that car in different places that were making it a little difficult. But I'm sure he really wanted to get back to the front and stretch out away from everybody, and it just kind of piled up there. But we'll take a quick look at the replay here. I think we're pretty much going to see what we thought was going to happen here.
Yeah, it looks like the 38 of Dylan McDonald. He just gets a little bit loose, and a 51, he was sitting it so close he did not give the 38 any room for error, and that's kind of what caused that accident right there.
Oh, I went way too far back.
Was given an EOL penalty, so it looks like it was his fault there for that caution. But unfortunately, the 51 was involved in that, and now being scored in 18th position. So he's got a lot of cars he has to pass before he gets back up there to the lead.
I'm trying to get a look at this before Dylan actually made contact with the 51. We see him come off of turn 3. He goes right underneath the 1, takes that position, then battles the 38 coming out of 4. 51 down on the apron almost in the grass, then just comes right up in front of the 38 and clips the nose. I don't think the 38 should have gotten the EOL on that one. The 51 just, we can back it up here and go a little bit slower, but I don't know if you guys can see what I'm seeing, but it definitely looks like the 51 just slides right in front of the 58 or 38 and cuts him off.
Yeah, like I said, the 51 cutting that really close. The 38 did get a little bit loose, but the 38 didn't even really move lanes. There was just no room for error. Unfortunately, error occurred, Ryan, and that's how you kind of got that accident.
Yeah, that's what happens here. You get so many cars. We got 20 cars out on the field on the track tonight, and when everybody's trying to get up front, there's just no room for any kind of error. And the 51 and the 38 looks like they just got together. I agree. I think the 38 wasn't like he caused the caution. He just kind of was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and then just couldn't get out of the way, and the 51 kind of cut him off. So I agree. I think the EOL was a little bit questionable, but they felt like the 38 was the cause of that caution, so gave him the EOL, and he'll be starting 19th, and the 51 looks like he's back to 17th right now, or 16th,
yeah, he's gonna be starting right in front of Dylan.
Yeah, so that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, so let's actually go grab our buddy Dylan McDonald and give him a talking to here. He might be a little upset, but we'll see what happens here. Dylan, buddy, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
A little bit better than you're going right now. We're watching you run around this track. You were looking really fast there up to third, and then that incident happened right there. Can you give us any kind of explanation on what happened there?
With the car on fresh tires and Alistair, being at the wrong place at the wrong time, I didn't want to get into the back of him, but just throttled up a little bit too quick and caught his rear bumper. But that just was completely on me. I even called it out over iRacing chat, so they knew that I was the cause of it. And just hate that I got somebody so quick like Alistair in the middle of me getting loose.
Not that I want to tell you you're wrong here, but looking at it from our perspective, it looks like the 51 actually comes up and crosses your nose from riding down to the bottom. So I think maybe you were a little quick to jump to take the blame for it, but either way, you gain respect for taking it, even though I don't think you actually deserve that one. But coming from the back, you've been really fast. You're going to be starting right next to Alistair again. He's been really fast, so I assume you're probably just going to follow him through because he's been super fast flying through the field. And when he was on the pole position, he was just super fast. So.
Oh yeah, it just You just gotta have patience, and I mean, with him right off the grip, jumping us 3 wide, it kind of made me a little bit nervous, especially with cold tires. So hopefully that's a patience learning thing for him, and hopefully it doesn't happen anymore. But I mean, I can't, tell him what to do or anything like that. So hopefully he knows now for the long run. I mean, there is 80 laps. We're only on lap 22, so always got to make sure you're there for the end. It's not about how you start; it's about how you finish.
That is very true. What group are you in? 76 or 76 Motorsports?
1776.
All
Yes, sir.
right. Well, I'll send you back down there. It looks like you guys are about to go green. Good luck coming through the field, bud.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I think he was a little quick to take the blame for that one. I respect him for trying to take the blame for it and thinking he was the one in the wrong, but I think we could probably all agree, looking at it, he might have jumped to conclusions on that one.
I think he did for sure. I mean, but that's how it is. You can't see everything out there as a driver. Sometimes you think it's your fault. It could have been netcode, could have been another driver, that cut you off. And it just, it is what it is sometimes, and you just got to gather it back up and, try and make it back through the field. We know he has a fast car, so not worried about that 38. He'll be back up there in the front by the end of this thing.
The 31 of Kevin Gibney Jr. He's out in first, trying to hold off the 78. But it looks like the 78 able to use that outside. And guys, that 78 is pushing hard. He was into the wall right out of turn 1, just pushing that car, trying to get back into the lead. It looks like Greg Wood is going to reassume the lead and lead this restart lap.
These two battled it out last week in the race that they had on Monday, and they finished 1-2, except the reverse. Kevin Gibney actually won the race, and Wood finished second, pushing his teammate. So that's a third teammate. As another guy gets loose, that's Wes Fuller in second, just slid out of that turn there out of turn 1, and he's going to slip back a few positions now.
Yeah, you can tell these guys are really struggling on these cold tires, with the being under caution, the tires cool down, the temperatures come down, and they're really struggling. But one car I'm watching come through the field is that 51. He is so fast. I mean, it's just amazing. So hopefully he stays out of trouble and gets back up front. But that 51 is he's a man that is looking for the front of this pack.
Oh, somebody just swung off. Greg Wood going down pit road. This is what I was talking about. I didn't think he had enough to make it very long. 24 laps into the run, he's going down pit road.
Yeah, the 51 back there battling with the 8, who's having some internet issues as the leader comes down pit road. The guy who's going to assume that lead, checking up, is Bryce Boyer in that number 1 Bud Light car. That is a beautiful paint scheme.
It is, and I actually just overheard that Greg Wood actually asked for black flags to be cleared. So I don't think he meant to come down pit road there, fellas. I think he may have got loose.
Oh.
And that was his best option. So I just saw his black flags were cleared. So I don't know if he actually did stop.
He definitely stopped.
Yeah, he did not mean to come down pit road as he got a black flag.
Well, he's going to come out of pit road in front of these guys, and he's going through the middle of 1 and 2 right now. And once he gets up to speed, these guys should close in on him pretty fast, but he will have the fresher tires to be able to maybe hang out in the front and get stay on the lead lap, or at least stay towards the front pack and get the lap back if a caution does come out, which we have another caution coming up here, and another stage break is going to be bringing up. So that will be coming soon.
The 31 of Kevin Gibney Jr., he's going to take over the lead from the 1. It looks like the 5 is also going to get around the 1. Wes Fuller, he's going to take over second place. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put him under a blanket, guys. This is some really good racing we're seeing in these next-gen cars here in Indy.
And don't look now, but look where that 51 car is. He is on the move. He is running in, I think, 6th or 7th place right now as they cross the line. He is coming quick. And the 38's making his move back through the field as well. Looks like he's gotten up to 10th. But, man, that 51 is in a different zip code tonight.
Yeah, we've got the second stage break coming up at lap 30. That's only 3 laps away. So I mean, if the 78 can stay out front of these guys, stay on that lead lap, he'll be able to stay out with the rest of the field, possibly pitting, I would think, at least for fuel, and be able to be at the front again, only on about 6-lap-old tires once they go around here.
Fourth place, Andrew Santiago. They are battling it out right now. He is right behind that 31 car into the wall. These guys are really battling these race cars as much as they're battling each other. Sometimes, Ryan, when we're getting ready for a race, you start to realize that we're going to be racing the track more than we're going to be racing each other as the 51 trying to get around that number 90 on the outside. That car's just fast anywhere. He'll take the outside, the inside. It's Indy, Ryan, for crying out loud. There's only supposed to be one lane.
One lane racetrack, but the 51 did not get the memo. Yeah, I mean, it's anytime you call any race, I mean, whether it's Indy, Bristol, Dover, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you find a car that can make more than one lane of racing work and be fast, there's someone you got to watch out for. And that 51 has been able to put it on the bottom, the top, the middle. I mean, he can just race wherever he wants to, and that's what makes a driver fast. That's what makes him scary competitive. So shout out to that 51, and he's doing everything he can to get to the front.
I mean, he's at the front. He's there.
He is. He is there, only 6/10 off of the leader.
He's trying to get to stage 2 win.
And honestly, he can do it.
Ryan, we always say in a fight, you know, you want to hit as hard as you can and be the first one to hit because it puts it into your opponent's head. Oh, this guy is tough. We watched Denny Hamlin do that today at Dover. He lost his wheel, came right back, and I think he was running 4th or 5th by the time he got wrecked out. This 51, they're too wide. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 51 already in the mix. When you're at the very beginning of this race, just coming to lap 30, you have fear in the minds of your competitor. The 51 has already done his job so far. It looks like my pick is starting to work out.
Well, they just threw the caution for the end of the stage break, and he just got up to 3rd to finish that stage break. And I saw somebody else try to dive down pit road or got loose again and clipped the cone of pit road. So almost a close call back there. I think that was the 98 or the 90 that got a little loose or thought about trying to dive down pit road before the caution came out. But I don't know if anybody can compete with Alistair unless he gets wrecked out, which I would assume he's probably used that fast repair already because I don't see any damage on his car as of right now. But I don't. Can we find another guy on the track that is close in the speed that he's got?
I don't think so. I mean, we'll have to see. You know, obviously some strategy will play out here. But the one I'm really going to be watching is that 78 of Greg Wood. Because this is such a big track, he was able to come down pit road, got his black flag cleared because of him basically wrecking into pit road. So he's still on the lead lap, and he has only a few laps on his tires. So it's going to be really interesting to see what that 78 does. Does he stay out and try and get track position, or does he come in with everyone else and, you know, stay in his position back there in the back? We'll see what he does and see if he can shake this field up a little bit.
Yeah, and that driver's super fast, Greg Wood, the 38 of Dylan McDonald. We talked about him running a little bit faster laps when the 51 was leading, and it led you to believe that maybe those guys were able to try to keep up with them if they could deal with the short run speed. But let's face it, boys, we're dealing with setups. Everybody's on the same exact setup. So this is about consistency. This is about getting into 1 correctly. This is about getting out of 2 correctly and then back into 3. And so if the 51 is able to do that, he's going to exceed beyond these drivers regardless of the setup. And so these guys are just going to really have to concentrate on hitting their marks. Some of these guys definitely have the speed. Do they have the consistency?
Yeah, I'm looking at the times, and Dylan's the only one that's close. And I want to say barely close to Alistair's time. Best lap for Alistair Kirk was 53.184. The next closest time is Dylan's at a 53.525. So even then, still 3.5 tenths off of Alistair's time. Now, they started nose to tail basically back there in the back whenever this last caution came out. And, I mean, Alistair went through the field up to third. Dylan only made it up to eighth or ninth. So, that just tells you right there that Alistair, with that little bit of time, 3/10, that's a big amount of time. And it shows on track when he goes from 17th to third in, 10 laps?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know he's fast for sure. But I just clicked over to the 78 car, and he stayed out. So he will be your race leader. And I think there was one other car that may have stayed out, but looks like he has some damage. Looks like he's maybe missing his hood or something. And so
Yeah, I think that's
I'm
Corey
sure
Kobe
he'll
who
probably
was in
come
that
down
first
and-
caution.
Yeah, so hopefully he'll come down. Hopefully he will not lead them to the green. That would be eventful. But you got the 78. Looks like he will be either first or second, and then the 51 right behind him. So the 78, I think, even with only 7 or 8 laps on your tires, I think you're going to see the 51 just jump him here on this restart. But it'll be interesting to see. But big turnaround for that 78, so kind of turned a negative into a positive there by coming down pit road inadvertently.
Yeah.
The 10 of Corey Kobe, he is going to have the lead here and control of the restart. The 78 going to be on the outside. The 51 of Alex Kirk, he is going to be in the second row with that number 1 car. 4 really fast cars, but as we know, Kirk is hands down the fastest driver. These guys have some wear on their tires. We saw the lap times kind of even out after 3 or 4 laps. Does that make it a little bit easier for the 10 and the 78 to try to fend off the 51?
I hope Corey knows that he's missing his hood. I hope he's listening and he can hear us saying that the 10 is missing the hood on that front car. But I know he's probably wanting to get out here and try to lead some laps. He's been kind of stuck in the back. He really hasn't had the speed that everybody else has had. His fastest lap is a 55.4. That's over 2 seconds slower than the guy who's starting directly behind him in that 51. Even Greg Woods sitting there in second, he led a few laps there. He's only run a 54.085, so still almost a second off of Alistair's time. So once Alistair clears these two, if we go green for a while, I have a feeling Alistair's just going to check out, and it'll be a battle for second or third.
Yeah, it looks like they just gave Corey Kobe an EOL penalty there, so it looks like maybe he just stayed out trying to lead a lap, and he has been sent to the end of the line. So that will make this restart a little bit better. I was a little worried there, but, man, that 51 car, not only is he fast, but it looks good. Got the Hot Ones sponsorship. Love that show. Love watching the celebrities eating those hot wings. It's always fun to see their reactions. But
I'm loving
man,
the rims.
Yeah, the rim, chrome
That's
rim.
shiny.
Chrome number 51.
That's like old school right there.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that paint scheme. So we'll see what the 78 can do, but I think that 51 is going to check out here in just a second.
This is going to be interesting here as the pace car ducks on down pit road. This restart, we'll see how much Alistair has been able to just leave everybody. He's going to be on fresher tires than Greg. Greg's on 9-lap older tires, or 7-lap older tires. Again, Greg getting a little aggressive there. Taps Alistair as they go into turn 1. Actually, Greg getting the worst of it. Slows down, and now another car goes up into the wall. I think that was Gibney.
Yeah, the 70. Yeah, that's definitely a caution. You saw that. Yeah, you called it. The 78 got a little aggressive, came down, made contact with the 51, put him way up high, and then another car was trying to get up under him and just knocked him in the wall. Sounds like the two drivers are having a little bit of discussion over race comps too.
Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, that's what I call it. You know, I mean that. Look, when two drivers are fighting for the same piece of real estate, it happens, and they're definitely not happy with each other. But the 78, we knew he was going to be a little bit slower with those older tires and just a little bit too aggressive there.
Yeah, we take a look
Yeah, it
here.
happens.
It's definitely. I can't hear what they're arguing about because I have them turned down. But if it's the 78 arguing for the 51, I think he might lose this battle when he goes back and looks at the replay.
For sure, yeah. I mean, he was definitely overly aggressive. He was trying to side draft him a little bit and just got too close. And then when he did, it just pushed him up the track. And then, once you get pushed up the track, it's really hard for other drivers to avoid you. So the other driver that did hit him into the wall, I didn't even see who that was, but
I think that was Dylan.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Dylan involved in it, but there's really nothing you can do when a car's that slow after making contact, and you're trying to just make your turn, and then you see a car there. It's really hard to react that quickly.
Yeah, it looks like the 15, the 78, they were going side by side, or sorry, the 51, the 78, they were side by side. It almost looks, guys, like the 51 said, I want to block this run in a different way, and decided to enter on the middle lane. I think the 78 kind of thought that the 51 was going to the bottom a lot sooner and kind of just turned right down into the 51. And so it might be hard to place blame there. Obviously, it's on the 78 to know where the guy beside you is. But it looks like maybe the 51 decided to stay one lane a little bit higher, and the 78 wasn't expecting that, maybe turned down right into him.
I mean, that's the way the 51's been entering that corner, though. So he's been getting that kind of launch into the corner. As he kind of floats high a little bit into that, what we call a second groove, maybe. And then he just dives it down to the line and then just shoots out of it into the straightaway and then floats back to the wall and then kind of does the same thing going into the next turn. He's just kind of floating it and then really cranking it down to the line and rolling that line, and then just gets all the gas he can coming out of the corners. Greg and Alistair, I don't think they've started side by side so far through this race other than that one there. So Greg may not have been aware of how Alistair was entering his corners and getting the runs he has been. And Greg tried to come down thinking he would be down on that line early. And unfortunately, he was not.
Reminds me a lot of how you race Dover, Terry. It's you kind of diamond the corners, and that's what the 51 looks like he's doing. Obviously not to the same extent as Dover has, a pretty high banking where Indy is more flat, but he's definitely taking that same approach, kind of entering high, diamonding that corner, going low, and then coming off the corner, going straight up to that wall. And I think that's where he's getting a lot of his speed from. But yeah, the 78, just the losing end of that deal. He's still sitting on pit road. I'm sure he's probably got some optional repairs, maybe even some required repairs. He hit that wall pretty hard. So he is now actually scoring one lap down. So the 78 not looking good so far, but still a lot of racing left to go. A lot of cautions could come out, and lucky dogs are there for him to use if he needs it.
I'm trying to look and see if we have any damage on that 51 from that accident. It looks like our leader looks clean so far. We're going to have to see. We know that 5 has been comparably fast to the rest of the field. Nobody, Kurt, is comparably fast to that number 51.
Yeah, 51's in a whole other league. It looks like a man versus boys out here. I don't want to offend anybody on track, but Alistair, just the way he's able to carry the speed through the corners. It looks like he's been driving Indy his whole life, and the rest of the field just found out about Indy. But a little bit of information about Indy. I like to throw a little bit of facts in there. Indy's actually was constructed in 1909. It was the second purpose-built banked oval racing circuit. The first, obviously, was behind Brooklands. Which I don't even know if it still runs anymore, but it's the third oldest. Actually, sorry, it is. So it's the third oldest permanent automobile racetrack in the world, behind Brooklands and Milwaukee Mile.
Great facts there. I love this track. It's got a lot of history, not only for NASCAR but with Indy. So
I'm a little sad they've taken it off the NASCAR schedule, though.
Yeah, I hate that. I know they did the Indy road course last year, and that It's just not the same, man. I just don't get it.
They've been talking about bringing
Well,
it back every 4 years to make it like that big race that comes back every 4 years. But I liked watching it every year.
Absolutely. But we're going green flag racing once again here at Indy. And the 51 is going to go ahead and check out from the 5. And hopefully we can get some green flag racing in here, boys.
Yeah, I'm hoping for some green flag runs so I can get this little extra thing I've thrown in tonight to see if anybody likes it out there. I've kind of worked on it this afternoon talking with Blake Henderson about different things, and he gave me a couple different camera angles for it. So if we can get going here, we'll see if they make it through this lap. If they do, I will throw it out there. But Blake Henderson at 25, who's now sitting second, he asked me a lot of questions as the admin owner, talking to him today about how to get through the corners. And, I'm no expert at Indy. I actually don't feel like I'm that good at Indy, but I am good at the corners. I just can't make passes for some reason. I can't carry the speed down the straightaways, but I get through the corners fine. So I was kind of telling him, and I'm glad you brought up the point about diamonding is what Alistair looks like he's doing. And that's what Blake said when I explained to him how I get through the corners. And he's like, oh, so diamonding. I'm like, yeah, that's how I'm getting all the speed I can through the corners. For some reason, the speed doesn't carry down the straightaways for me. Now, Alistair obviously either has a turbo button or has figured out another way to carry that speed because he's just launching out of the corners and it's just gone from there.
Watching that 25 car of Blake Henderson, he's trying really hard to try to stay as close as he possibly can. Might have to try a little bit harder. That number 5 car of Wes Fuller. These two guys, we've seen.
Oh, we got one wrecking in the back.
Oh, big wreck, the 23.
Yeah, 23 just got loose coming off of 4, tried to correct it and just overcorrected and steered it right into the outside wall, right in front of another car. And I don't know who it was he cut off, but he smashed somebody right into the outside wall as they come off of 4. So I'll go try to find this in the instant replay spot here and see if we can pick it up. But I know the 23 was for sure the cause of this one.
Yeah, he just got loose. I mean, it's typical coming out of turn 4. He overcorrects, comes straight back on the track, and it looks like he got I don't even know. It looks like Smith.
It might be the purple Matt Smith.
Yeah, the 29 of Matthew Smith.
Oh, he might have got helped, actually.
Yeah.
Bud Light 1 car was real close to the back bumper.
Could have been netcode too. Netcode's been really bad in the recent months, unfortunately, with iRacing, and definitely looks like it could have been a little bit of netcode, but then he overcorrects and then just gets that 29 of Matthew Smith. So unfortunate for both of those cars, but the 23 is in rough shape.
So backing it up through here, we'll see the 1. I don't even know if he touched him. I think he just pulled the air. As the 1 came off the corner behind the 23, he was carrying more speed, and when he got close to the 23, he just swung out to the outside wall coming off the corner and just carried the momentum. And when he swung to the outside wall, it just dragged that 23's rear end to the right, and he tried to correct it, and it just did not happen.
These drivers having a lot of fun here at Indy, but this has been natural for these next-gen cars. Ryan, when we first started driving these cars, you could drive this track pedal to the metal all the way around the track. It's like, what is this? But as iRacing continues to work with the next-gen car, continues to get data from NASCAR and how these cars drive, these cars change. And so a lot of these drivers, and I know where they're at because I struggle with this all the time with this next-gen car. It seems like no matter what track we go to, no matter what week it's in, the car drives a little bit differently, and it's a constant learning process with this car this year.
It is. I mean, and it never stops. I mean, they're constantly, just like in real life. Y'all are obviously both huge NASCAR fans. When they started this season, they were wrecking and spinning out as much as we were in our, in our practices and stuff. So, it's a constant building of information. The crews and teams in real life NASCAR, have finally, I think, found that setup where the driver knows how to drive the car now, and iRacing is almost there. I think they're getting really close. They just need a couple more months of data, but you can tell that some of these guys, they know how to drive these things, and some of them struggle. I mean, DP, you talked about struggling. I mean, I struggle with these things too. They're one turn they're tight, and the next turn they're loose. I mean, it's crazy. But unfortunately, I'm looking at the 78. He's still sitting on pit road now, 5 laps down. So really unfortunate for that 78 of Greg Wood. That's gonna probably, I'm assuming, give the 21 that victory in the bracket. But another shout out to the 22 of Gary Donaldson. He's scored in 14th right now. He was actually 2 laps down earlier in this race. And Terry Gabbard can tell you I'm the one of the worst about this. I'll go 2 or 3 laps down early in a race, and you just never give up, man. I mean, you just never can give up. Saturday night when I was racing that Talladega race, hell, I was 2 laps down in that race and ended up coming back and winning. So shout out to the 22. Never give up. You're always in it until the checkered flag flies.
That driver's mentality.
Yeah, and what I was going to say is that it almost gives you kind of an advantage, Ryan, because it's like the team who has been down trying to make the playoffs. Well, they've been in the playoffs for 4 weeks now. When you're trying to race your way back from 3, 2, 1 laps down, once you get on the lead lap, you're like, wow, I'm passing all these cars. Well, you've been pushing that car for 45, 50 laps now, just trying to get back on the lead lap. And so maybe a whole lot more than all the other drivers who've had it easy running around on the lead lap on how to push the car, on how to make it work. And so that could be an advantage for some of these drivers as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen here. We're over halfway. These guys cannot make it to the end on fuel only, so they're going to have to make another pit stop. Do we see more cautions come out? I would think at this point these guys have maybe gotten a little bit more of a handle on this track. Blake seems to be picking up his speed. He's been consistently up here in the top 5. We saw him get loose early on and go back to 17th. He's worked his way right back up to the front row. He spun out of second. So we'll see if he can stick with Alistair. Hopefully he doesn't come down on his right rear like the 78 did going through this turn 1. But we'll see if they can make it through here all on 4 tires. Oh, and Blake gets loose.
Oh, yeah. We got another one loose there. I didn't see who that was. But, yeah, I mean, as the great Darrell Waldrop says, cautions breed cautions. And as these laps start to tick down, the drivers are going to get more intense. They're going to have less patience for everyone else, and you're going to see some cars in the outside wall. I can guarantee you that.
Well, while they're still going here, let's go ahead and throw it into the commercial break real quick. Give us a second here to grab some drinks or something. Everybody just pay attention to the screen. I got the side-by-side going. We'll have the commercial rolling and the race continuing on the right side of the screen.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
All right, we're back from break, and as we were on break, there was a caution that came out, so we'll take a look back here. Looks like a few different drivers were involved in this one. It looks like it could have started with Angel Santiago, but we'll cue in on him here and see if we can find exactly what happened.
Yeah, that 90 is in rough shape. He's smoking, missing the front clip, so he was definitely involved.
Looks like the 44 got on the back of the 78, who just came back out after spending so much time down pit road, and shot him into the 90's rear end and turned both of them around there. So 78 is going to be back on pit road as he is now missing a hood again, and the 90 is going to have a whole bunch of damage, and the 44 is going to have some big damage on the front end.
Looks like the 78 just got into the 44 under caution, so he must not be happy.
I would probably say so.
Yeah, he's not happy. I mean, I know he's 6 laps down, but I mean, we're drivers, you know, Terry. I mean, me and you have had a couple scuffles before as the 78 comes in, wrecks the 44 under caution. Oh, that's not good.
No, that's going to be probably a big deal there. So we'll take a look here at the caution incidents here on the yellow flag here. So you see the 78 back here. Looks like he gets a little bit of angriness going on and just comes up next to the 44, gives him a little bit of a door check there, and the 44 actually kind of, I don't know if he really moved. The 78 tried to cut out in front of him, and I think he was going to slam on the brakes, and he just did not clear him before he tried to get out in front of him, and he went around, and the 78 got back going and said, you know what, this time I'll finish this. I'm not going to give you a chance.
He was going to make sure he finished it, and then right as he did, he disconnected. So, yeah.
I'm sure that's going to be a huge penalty.
Yeah, he might be looking at some penalties come next week. So, I mean, that's just the thing. I mean, Terry, you know, like I said, me and you, we've had our altercations on track. I mean, drivers, they get upset. I mean, this is competitive. I mean, this is a probably as close to real-life racing as you can get. And when drivers have a disagreement, it makes for some fireworks sometimes under caution, under green, and after the race.
Yeah, I think somebody's probably shouting from the chat box saying, Mama, the boys are at it again. They're, I don't think the 78 is going to be too happy, and I don't think the owner admins are going to be very happy with the 78. I know he was battling for the April absurdity. He was already 5 laps down. I hope we don't have 5 more cautions to where he would have been able to get back on the lead lap. But yeah, I mean, getting run into the back of by the 44. I get being upset. I get coming up next to him on the caution laps and maybe give him a little bit of a door check or getting close to him. But in the replay, I mean, like I said, it looks like the 78 tried to get in front of the 44, and I'm going to assume he was probably going to maybe slam on the brakes a little bit to say, hey, you didn't take my bumper completely off, but here you go, here's your chance. But as he tried to clear him to get in the front of him, he clipped the left front and went around into the wall, and I think that just sent him over the edge and said, you know what, I'll just finish your night too.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to think the 78 was obviously probably under, you know, not under 100% power. I mean, we saw him sitting on pit road for a while, and anybody that races iRacing knows that if you have a long optional repair, even when you get it fixed, you're still not 100% power. So, you know, the 78 really should have just, you know, understood that he's not at full speed. I mean, obviously he did not use a fast repair, so he had damage. He probably had some engine damage. And, you know, these guys are out here racing. I mean, the 44 was on the lead lap. I mean, he's trying to get positions here. So, you know, you just got to be aware of where you're at and where everyone else is at. And I understand he's frustrated, but at the same time, you know, you're 4 or 5 laps down. You got to be aware of the lead lap cars around you.
Yeah, the 78, I've been watching for a few weeks now. He's usually pretty aggressive, even if he's a lap down. So I mean, he could be 10 laps down. He still wants to be out front, which, I mean, I get the driver's mentality, but at the same time, like I've said before, with the no fast repairs is what I like in leagues. You know, it gives you that sense of trying to take care of each other. So, you know, if you take care of a guy takes care of you, then, you know, you don't have incidents. But, you you'll still have a few here and there, obviously. I mean, they do in real life, so it's always going to happen. But as we're going to go green here again, Alistair Kirk still out front. Definitely clinched the most laps led already, even though we're only a little over halfway, close to, 30-something laps left. I don't think anybody can get to him for the lead laps part, for most lead laps. But Wes Fuller, I mean, he's been really fast. Blake's been really fast. Bryce Boyer's climbed his way from the back. He's up a bunch of positions tonight. He's up 18 from the start of the race. I just don't know if anybody can compete with Alistair. We already see him out of turns 1 and 2 going into 3. He's already stretched a second and a half over second place.
You guys, that was, I'm sorry, that was incredible. The 51, I'm sorry, the 5 of Wes Fuller, he had a really good jump. He was a nose ahead of the 51 going into 1. By the end of 1, the 51 was 4 car lengths ahead of the second place car.
Oh, we got a wreck in the back.
Out again.
And I don't know who that was. I think that was Hunter Whitlock in the 35 that went around there spinning. Bounced off the outside wall, and I saw him do a tornado off of it and spun down to the inside wall. So we'll try to find it here in the instant replays and bring that up, but I'm pretty sure Hunter Whitlock was going to be involved. Now, did he get help going around? That's going to be the question as we're going to pull this up.
Yeah, it looks like he just went. Yeah, he just got into the apron. And then the 38 of Dylan McDonald just kind of turned him into the outside wall and just finished him off. I mean, that's unfortunate for the 38 of Dylan McDonald because he's going to have some pretty serious damage now, too.
Well, I hope Dylan didn't jump to conclusions again and take the blame for this one, because that's for sure on the 35 for going down on the apron and getting loose and spinning across the 38. But, yeah, it's going to be the second contact for the 38. I don't think he's used his fast repair, so hopefully he's still got that in the bag. That should be able to help him. I mean, he moved his way back up. He's still currently 5th, but he is going to have to get some of that damage fixed. The 35 smoking, like you said, he's going to have to go down pit road and get that fixed before he can even get going. I don't think he can make it around, and he's already down pit road. So I'd love for these guys to get going and get a green flag run so I can bring out this extra scene I put in tonight. But I'm not sure if it's going to happen here. Hopefully we can get it going here. We've got 30 laps to go, and I'd love to be able to put it out there.
Yeah, you hate when you plan something and things just don't go right. You know, it's always frustrating. But yeah, the 38. You know, I really do. I'm gonna write a strongly worded letter to iRacing saying that all of us commentators watching, we need to know if drivers have fast repairs left. You have no idea from up above, other than, you know, just obvious if somebody's crashed and then they get a new car. It's really hard to tell who has fast repairs left and who doesn't.
Yeah.
That'd be a great thing to have, especially from the booth, you know. I mean, but yeah, the 38's definitely got a lot of damage. I'm gonna keep an eye on him coming down pit road here and see if his car fixes itself automatically. It does, so it looks like he did have a fast repair, so he's gonna have to be very careful in these next 30 laps.
Yeah, that knowing about fast repairs, let's talk about whether we know whether it's a custom setup race or not, Ryan. I jumped in and I was like, oh, these are custom setups, because when I go to the garage, it's giving me all the things. Well, it's not a custom setup. So include that in your strongly worded letter to iRacing, please.
Yeah, even if it's not part of something for iRacing to pull up, I wish maybe SDK in their coding could figure out a way to pull it up so that I could at least have it on my screen to be able to pull it up. Or I also run sim racing apps at the same time to have a couple different views of different things. I mean, sim racing apps, I can look to see how long a pit stop was, how long the pit run or the run is on track. I can see all of that, but in SDK, I can't see it really. There's a few different things I could pull up, but it's just easier for me as a broadcaster to be able to see all of this on my screen. But yeah, if they could add some sort of coding into SDK or put it in iRacing so SDK can then code out in their script for it, that would be amazing to be able to have it in there and be able to see. But you could just eliminate it all and make the league no fast repairs, and that would help completely too. So I think tonight, I think a few guys will probably be saying they loved having that fast repair, but I'm sure there's a few guys out there also saying I wish there wasn't fast repair, so guys would maybe take it a little easier and not be so aggressive in some of these turns.
Well, I've run several leagues, obviously, throughout getting iRacing, and I have run 2 or 3 leagues that's what they do. They run their league races with no fast repairs. I mean, if you think about it, that is the most realistic to a real race as you can get. I mean, obviously, drivers in real life, they don't have fast repairs. That doesn't exist. So, and I will say that for the most part, in the leagues that I've raced with 0 fast repairs, it's usually pretty clean. Because, like you said, the drivers know that one mistake, that's it. Your race is over. I mean, so it's, and we've talked about it in ARCs. You know, we've debated it, but it's not it's nice to have that one mulligan, just in case you're involved in something that was nothing of your doing. But yeah, there's definitely some leagues out there that run 0 fast repairs, and it works really, really well. So it's just depends on the league and the admins and the drivers on what's preferred.
I would say, Ryan, from an admin owner's perspective, the guys who have to listen to all the drivers complain, we prefer to have that one fast repair because drivers like to complain.
Always. I mean, we're drivers. That's what we do.
No doubt. We complain. Green flag is out. The 51 on the bottom. The 1, not as good a start as the outside line had on that last restart. The 5, looking underneath the 1. They're going to be side by side for second place. That is good news for the 51. He is going to set sail as he has for the rest of the race.
Yeah, now we'll see if these guys can get a green flag run, and I'm sure Alistair would love to see a green flag run as fast as he's running. I mean, even right now, second place ran a 53.699. That's a half second faster, or half second slower than Alistair's time. So if he can make up, a half second every 2 laps, at this point being on 21 lap old tires, actually a little further than that. As last time he stopped, he was only in for 6 seconds, so he only took fuel. So he's probably on closer to 25, maybe 30 lap old tires right now, and he's still dusting the field compared to guys who are on fresh tires. So if he could get a good 30 lap run here to end this thing, I think he could probably get out to at least 5 or 6 seconds. He's already out a second and a half after 1 lap.
Right, it looks like the 1 having trouble. He goes back from the outside row 1 back into 5th place, and there's a caution on the field.
Awesome. Yeah, not sure who it was. Trying to find.
I know Matt Boone's involved. I think Alfred Denny might have been involved.
Looks like the 44 may have also been involved or just tried to avoid it going down on the access road. Yeah, the 83 definitely not happy. Looks like the 38 may have also been involved. I hear both of them talking to each other, so definitely some tensions flaring here as the race is coming to an end.
So looking at this, it looks like the 53 and 22 both got loose going into turn 1 in front of the 83, and he let off just a little bit as the 53 was sliding in front of him, and it looks like the 98 ran right into the back of the 83 and turned him into the inside wall with the 53. So that possibly could be what you're hearing on race chatter with the 83 and 98 talking, but I mean, that's turn 1 again. It's been the the sword for everybody to fall on tonight. There's really nobody making it through there besides Alistair with any sort of confidence.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I mean, spatial awareness is so difficult in these cars because, when you're inside the cockpit, you're looking at the car in front of you, and all you can really see, even with these short spoilers, is the rear windshield of the car in front of you. So unless somebody says, hey, I'm checking up, you can't tell what's happening in front of you. So, of course, you're going to stay in it, and sometimes it's just too late, and that's what it kind of looked like there. And, of course, the driver that gets run over, always upset, but, it's difficult to stop that car. These next gens, the brakes, at least in iRacing, not great. So, when you hit the brakes, the car kind of just keeps going. So it's tough. It really is. Visibility is really hard in these cars. So unless they're communicating with each other through Discord or through race comms, you really have no idea what's going on until sometimes it's too late.
Well, I know you guys were talking about this before, and I was going to make a comment. You guys talking about NASCAR with these next gen cars. Every time they get more information, they throw it to iRacing. iRacing, obviously, it's a sim. It's not real life, but it's as close as we can get to. So they might need to talk to NASCAR about trying to keep the wheels on the cars, because that seems the only problem that NASCAR currently has with these next gen cars. There's at least, I would say, probably at least 2 to 3 cars every single race so far has come out of pit road or been out on track and lost a wheel somehow with these hubs. And obviously in iRacing we don't see a wheel fall off. I don't even know if I've seen a flat tire in iRacing. So they may need to try to figure out and help NASCAR with that if they can. But the information they pass over to iRacing with these cars on the different packages, the stabilities, the way that they're driving and the thing. Dale Earnhardt Jr., he's such a big promoter for iRacing. He's done testing in different places. There have been a few other drivers who've done testing. They all help out with trying to push iRacing even further into the future and get it closer and closer to actual real life as far as without actually going out on track.
Yeah, I'll say 2 things. Sorry, Ryan, while we got time, is that our fans on iRacing are virtual. The fans in real life are real fans. And when one of those tires come off and a car hits that tire at 180 miles an hour, NASCAR is going to have a big problem. We see the 51. It's going to dip off down to pit road. He is going to leave the 5 of Wes Fuller. He is going to be out in first place here. He's going to lead the field to green, and it looks like...
I think he's doing it for fuel.
Yeah, if the 51 was the only driver to come down, he's going to have a lot of cars that he's going to have to pass to get back to the front. We know he is the fastest by far, but that's going to make this race really interesting when they hit about 23 laps to go once we go green.
Yeah, Bryce and Corey also came down with him, so I think that's a fuel strategy. He's coming in. They got 25 laps. That's basically a fuel run. I think this is him trying to be the last fuel run he's going to have to make. And I think the rest of the guys are going to have to save a little bit, the guys who just pitted on the first go-round.
It's not a bad strategy, but, talking about the tires and wheels falling off, my luck, next week when we run our league race, I'll be the first one in iRacing to have my tire and wheel fall off.
If I see it fall off on Saturday's race, I'm really going to bring it up.
Yeah, please do. I'll be the first car ever to have my tire finish in front of my car.
In front of your car?
So, some things, it's a simulation, obviously. Some people call it a game. Depends on how old you are is what
I will gather this. The true definition of iRacing, if you Google it, it says it is a game.
Yeah. Well,
Don't tell anybody that.
It is actually the term that says game in their description.
It's only a game when you lose. When you win, it's a simulation.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, this 51's gonna have a lot. He's gonna have some cars in front of him here. This is gonna be really interesting. We've seen him come through the field once before, but can he do it safely? That's the biggest thing. I know he can pass guys, but he's gonna have to be very, very careful of these cars that are going to get loose as we're going green flag racing once again here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah,
and on the bottom, Zachary Apperson in that 41. He's going to be outside. They're 2 by 2. The first 2 rows, the 38 of Dylan McDonald on the outside trying to follow that 41. It looks like they're going to have the run coming in here into 2, Kurt.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this because I don't think we're going to have much time to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it into the extra scene I made tonight. It is the crank it up screen. So get ready, crank it up, turn your volumes all the way up. We'll go off mic for a few minutes here as they run a couple laps, hopefully without a caution mixing it up here. But turn your volume completely up if you can.
Yeah, as we've continued on, it looks like the 51. It came down pit road again. That driver is having some issues. The fastest driver on track, having major issues at the end of this race. The 38 of Dylan McDonald runs second behind the 5 of Wes Fuller. The 38 is making continuous ground on the 5. We're going to have about 19 laps to go when the 5 crosses the line this time by. So there's not a whole lot of laps to go. It looks like it's a 2-car race right now. Can the 38, Ryan, chase down that 5 car?
Yeah, the 51 and the 1 had penalties on that restart. I heard it through the race comms. They asked for it to be cleared, but admin said nope. You got to serve it. So 51 and the 1, and I believe the 10 as well, all 3 got penalties, probably passing before the start-finish line. That is a huge hit as the 51, 10, and 1 now all are a lap down. Actually, the 1 is 2 laps down. So that is a huge hit for the leader that has led pretty much almost every lap here tonight, Kurt. But that's going to be a huge battle to try and get back. He's looking for a caution really bad right now.
Yeah, and the reason he's got that black flag, or they got the black flag, is because they did not pit in the first time around in the caution laps. They chose to stay out, and they pitted on the second go-around. Now, if you pit in the first go-around, you can pit a second time, and that's why they got the black flag, is because they did not pit that first time. that you're not allowed to do that. If you decide to pit once and you decide to pit a second time to go in to top off and fuel, which is basically what they did or what they were looking to do, try to get some strategy with fuel, they should have tried to pit early on in the first part of the caution and then come back down in the second one and just top off. And I just realized I was muted earlier when I was explaining what I was doing. That was the HTL Crank It Up. Blake Henderson, the owner admin of the league, helped me with camera angles last night and came up with all those different camera angles to really set this up. And then I got the Crank It Up screen set up on my scenes here and was able to put that together for you guys. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the sound. Hopefully the sound was good enough. I know I cranked all my volumes up and I cranked the volume on my phone to make sure that the volume sounded good, and my wife yelled, turn it down. So hopefully everybody out there in the chat liked it. I saw Mama Fuller out there who's rooting for probably 1 and 2 positions right now. I'm sure she's probably leaning more towards her son with Wes leading this race, but Dylan being that second car right behind Wes, as those two are teammates, I'm sure she's kind of flipping a coin on which one to root for, but I'm sure she's probably rooting for her son more.
Right now, the number 5 with the obvious lead, the 38, Ryan, he's able to get up to him, but then it seems like he loses some a little bit. We've known that these next-gen cars, they're really aero-sensitive. So as the 38 gets closer to the 5, is it making him maybe aero-tight and making him lose that run on the 5?
Absolutely. I mean, it's easy to catch somebody, but it is hard to pass them. I mean, that's at every track, especially here at Indy, where it's a lot of draft. You take a lot of air off the car in front of you and behind you. As the 5 comes down pit road now, it looks like he may have...
Wes has not pitted in 33 laps, so that's why he's going to be short. Third place, Zachary Abertson in his first race in HTL. He hasn't pitted in 24 laps, so he's going to have to pit as well. Dylan has not pitted in 16 laps. I think he's going to be close to making it if he can make it. I heard 30 laps was the most anybody went in a full green flag run, but I haven't seen anybody go over 23 so far in this race. 24, I think, is the max. So it's going to be close on these guys, and I think that's why we saw Alistair and Corey and another guy, Bryce, come down to try to top off. They just messed up with not pitting the first go-around in that caution lap, but this is going to be a huge thing for these guys. Now, I don't know if Alistair and those guys with serving that black flag penalty finally and going a lap down, if they can get back on the lead lap with all these guys having to pit now, they should be good to finish out the race. The question is can they get back on the lead lap, a caution come out late maybe, and then Alistair obviously go back down, get another set of tires. And we saw him in 10 laps go from 17th to 3rd. Could we get another caution with 10 laps to go? We got 15 to go now.
The 38 with a huge lead, Ryan, and he didn't come down pit road this time. You got to think that team thinks that they can make it all the way on gas. And so the 38 will probably likely continue to stay out. If he has to come down, you got to look at the 5 because you got to know that new tires are going to be old tires as far as speed every single time. The 5 is going to be making up a ton of ground on the 38 if the 38 has to come down. But if they're good and they gambled correctly, the 38 is off to a really nice lead and has a really good chance of winning this race.
One thing that helps the 38 is he's, over 6 seconds ahead of second place. So if he wants to start saving, he can start saving. You can look at that lead. He's at 6.4. You can start backing up the corner entry. Not get on the gas until a little bit later off corner exit. It also helps you, with tire wear by saving fuel like that. So the 38's in a good spot right now, but I just don't know if he can push it that far. That's a long way to go. But yeah, I was trying to get a shout out to Wes Fuller and Dylan McDonald when they were running 1-2. Both of those guys, as you know, DP, called our race Saturday night, so it was really cool seeing those two guys running 1-2, but unfortunately the 5 just didn't quite have enough fuel to make it to the end. Still going to watch the 38. I think it's going to be close, but I just don't know if he can push it that far. But now, like we said, the 51. I mean, when he came down to serve that penalty, went ahead. I mean, you got to serve 40 seconds worth of penalty. Go ahead and get your tires and fuel, and the 51 may have enough to make it to the end. That's going to be interesting to watch. And I swear, no matter what you set these cars to fuel-wise, I mean, they're at 65% fuel load tonight. It always seems to turn into a fuel mileage race. No matter where you're at, it just never fails.
Yeah, I don't know. Dylan doesn't seem to be saving. I just went a whole lap with him in the cockpit view, and I'm not hearing him be off the gas as much as I thought he would be off, or even clutching it. Now, Zachary Aperson sitting second. Dylan doesn't have to worry about him. He hasn't been on pit road in 29 laps. He's not going to make it to the end. Oh, and Dylan gets loose.
Oh, Dylan almost. Oh,
through the grass.
Dylan, yeah.
Stays in the lead, though.
Stayed right there. What a save by Dylan McDonald. But, yeah, I agree.
That could be the save of the race right there for him.
Oh, for sure. And shout out to the 41 of Zachary Apperson. I actually saw earlier he actually lost connection due to packet loss and went 2 laps down. And here he is sitting in second. So, I mean, that's another point to, the way that I race on every night basis. You never give up. I mean, 2 laps down, lost connection.
Dylan's going to come in.
Comes down pit road. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't think he had to worry about Zach. The only person I would think he might have to worry about in the top 4, really, is Blake, who hasn't been down in 15 laps. So he should be good to make it to the end, I would think. But Zach is going to have to pit, and then Kevin Gibney's going to have to probably pit too. I don't think he can make it to the end either. So I think it's going to come down to Matt Smith and Blake Henderson. Blake is the points leader right now, and Matt Smith is sitting second in the points. So these two gambling pretty big on fuel, and they should be able to make it to the end right now with 16 laps on this run, 10 laps to go when they come across the green next. They should have enough if 30 laps is the fuel run. We just saw Zach run 30 laps, so this should be the mark for these guys to set.
Only 3 seconds separates Blake Henderson and Matthew Smith. It looks like these two drivers are going to be the ones to watch if they can make it all the way on fuel.
And Zach's coming down.
A lot of drivers coming down pit road.
That's going to hand it to Blake Henderson now.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. It's all about the strategy, and sometimes having the fastest car is not what matters. We saw the 51. We've seen the 5. We've seen the 78 of Greg Wood. All those drivers have had issues on the track, and they've fallen off. Now the 25 of Blake Henderson, maybe a top 5 car. But we talk about, even in real racing, in iRacing, how if you have a top 5 car, you have a car that can win. The problem is getting yourself as a driver, yourself as a car, to a position where you are a top 5 car. Some of us, like myself, are top 15 drivers. We don't have a shot at the win. We got a shot at a top 5. But if you can keep your car in a top 5 situation every single race, you know that you're a car that can win this race. And that's what Blake Henderson and that 25 is doing right now.
Yeah, 21 and 31 already have wins this season, so they can kind of lean on those. Blake does not have a win, but even without the win, he is sitting as the points leader. He collects a lot of points in the stages, and he's finished every race so far, I believe, in the top 10. So he's been collecting a lot of points with no wins 7 races into the season. This could be the night for him at Indy. Matt Smith and Kevin Gibney battling back here. Gibney passing Matt Smith for second. These two are not going to want Blake to get a win. They are going to go for their second wins tonight.
Matthew Smith definitely looks like he may be saving a little bit. I mean, it could just be that he's got an ill-handling race car, but I think he's trying to save, trying to make it to the end.
I don't think Gibney can make it either.
Yeah, and the 25 of Blake Henderson, if he's saving, he's not showing it. I mean, he is wide open, but he has the 51 of Kurt coming up on him. That will put the 51 back on the lead lap if he can make that pass. So if a caution does come out in these next, 6-7 laps, the 51 will be on the lead lap and won't even have to take the lucky dog. And he's closing on the 25 pretty quick, so I think he's going to make that pass pretty easily when he gets there. But still, he's hoping for a caution at this point.
Yeah, I thought it was Gibney that passed Smith, but it was not. It was Kirk who just blew his doors off as he went past him. But yeah, 25 and 29 are both. It's going to be close. I would think both of them got to save a little bit. Gibney's going to have to pit shortly. He's on 20 lap run or 28 lap run. So if it is 30, he's got 2 laps to pit, and we've got 7 laps to go as Blake Henderson's going to cross that finish line. I really don't know where this goes. Everybody else behind, everybody that's running right now besides 11th place of Dylan McDonald has been on track for more than 19 laps on this run. And if it's close for Blake and Matt Smith, it's got to be close for the rest of them back here through the top 10. The only 2 that really are sitting here in good spots is going to be Dylan and Wes sitting 11th and 12th if the rest of the field has to pit or runs out.
The 25 leads with 6 laps to go here at the line, guys. The 51 of Alistair Kirk, he's behind the 25. He probably has a little bit more speed, might be on a little bit better tires, but the 51 not on the lead lap. And so as we see the 51 try to make a move on the 25, the guy that the 25 of Blake Henderson needs to deal with is Matthew Smith in that 29. Currently running around 2.5 seconds behind the leader. But like we talked about, this has been a gas type of race. We're really dealing with fuel. 6 laps to go here at Indy. Can the 25 make it? If the 25 cannot, the 29 will have no problem with pouncing and getting this race win.
I'm looking at the lap times, and these guys are all running pretty similar lap times. So unless all of them are saving, I mean, first and second are running 54 1s, 54 2s. The rest of the top 10 are running 55s or very high 54s. The only one running really fast right now is Alistair, running a 53.7, that last one. Now, him being on the back bumper of the 25, pushing him to run faster, does that hurt the 25, who should be saving in this instant, I would think?
No, for sure. I mean, when you're the leader of any kind of draft, you're going to use more fuel because you're pulling not only your own car but the car behind you. So if I was the 25, I'd let that 51 go. I mean, we're coming to pretty much 4 laps to go. There's just no sense in having that 51 behind you because not only are you pulling your own car, but you're pulling the 51 behind you. So I would let him go, get him back on the lead lap. He's no worry right now. Now, if the caution comes out, could be a different story. But the 25, if he's trying to save fuel, I'd definitely let that 51 go by me.
As a matter of fact, Ryan, if the 51 would go by the 25, he's going to gain a couple extra mile an hour from that draft. And if the 51 is running a little bit faster than him, he knows that the draft is not going to pull him to him. So he might be able to carry that draft for a lap by the time the 51 would get by him. I think maybe, though, Kurt, the 51 might be making a conscious decision to stay behind the 25. He's got the fastest car, obviously, but is content to stay right behind the 25 of Blake Henderson.
It's allowing him and Blake to catch lap down cars. So the more they close in on the lap down cars, the more cars Alistair wouldn't have to pit or pass if a caution does come out right now. Now, obviously, with 3 to go, it's going to be a green-white checker, but I'm kind of confused. I know you're saying you think maybe Alistair's making a conscious decision of staying behind him and just staying in the draft. I don't know. In my opinion, I think Alistair should try to go around him to try to at least get on that lead lap if a caution did come out. And I mean, he's only going to be 13th at this point if a lead lap or if a caution does come out and he goes around him. But if he does not go around him and a caution does come out with a green-white checkered, he's going to be sitting 13th regardless because he's going to have to take the waiver round or get the lucky dog, which puts him on the lead lap, but he'll be at the end of the longest line. So I don't see that working out in his benefit. But so far, he's just going to sit behind the 25 and I guess push him to a win.
Yeah, we see the 51 continuously get a run off these exits, Ryan. Looks like maybe now he's going to look on the inside. The 25 just going to simply let him go. Not quite sure if that was what the 25 was intending to do the whole time, but you see the gap. The 51 in one corner was able to make on the 25. The 51 obviously with a lot more speed than the 25. You can see it now.
Those guys are teammates too, so that could be part of they're talking back and forth. I don't know if they're maybe communicating in the Tombstone Motorsports, like, hey, push me down this straightaway, give me some sport speed to try to get through here. But that's what just happened. And there's guys still struggling back here. I don't know who's going to make it and who's going to run it out.
I think the 51, when he came down pit road, he may have just taken, a can of fuel, and he may have actually been close to not being able to make it. So he may actually gotten behind his teammate there and saved, a couple laps or, a lap or so. And then once he was to the good, went ahead and went around him. So could be that's what happened there. But, yeah, the 25 definitely looks like he's slowed up a little bit, maybe trying to save. But he'll be coming to the white flag here. So hopefully he's got enough to make it one more lap here at Indy.
Yeah, if not, he's going to kick himself for this one. I mean, even if him and Matt Smith both run out of 4, they should make it to the finish line before the next car, which is 16 seconds back. So as long as they can make it to turn 4, they should be good to go. The two of them, it's going to be close, though. We're coming out of turn 2 now. Blake trying to shorten the track a little bit, maybe also trying to not allow Matt Smith to get the draft off of him. We see the snaking thing happen at Pocono, Indianapolis, and a couple others. But I think he was maybe just trying to shorten the track a little bit, which I don't know why he might not have done that multiple laps ago to try to shorten the track.
Well, he's going to have enough, it looks like. He is coming off of turn 4. Coming to the checkered flag, Blake Henderson in the 25 Ford Mustang. He's going to get the win. Had just enough fuel to make it to the end.
Yeah, we'll see if he has enough to come around and do a burnout, though. Blake getting his first win of the HTL iRacing Series Season 2. 7 races into the season, he gets his first win. He's been the points leader twice, actually, throughout the season so far. And he might have just ran out and hoping Matt Smith will push him. Matt Smith, though, sitting second in the points as I bring those up on screen right now as we're waiting for these guys to come around. So Blake Henderson sitting at the front with 247. Matt Smith sitting second with 234. Wes Fuller sitting in third with 227. Wes going to bring it home tonight, 6th, though. So Matt Smith finishing 1 or 2. Blake finishing first. Both leading laps on this thing. I think these two stretch it out a little bit further. Biggest fall for tonight is probably going to be Greg Woods sitting 5th, and he's probably going to get some more penalty points after his actions on track. So he's probably going to drop a whole bunch. Matt Boone, unfortunately, going to finish 16th. He's sitting 6th in the points. Corey Kobe, 8th in the points. He's going to finish 15th. So there's going to be a shakeup again of these guys coming from the back of the standings right now. We could see a whole new top 10 next week.
Absolutely, and it looks like Blake Henderson does have enough fuel. He's going to try a burnout here at the start-finish line. This is a little bit of a narrow track, so it's a little difficult to get that burnout down, but he is going to burn it down, smack it off the wall a little bit.
Little toe slap.
Yeah, just knocking that toe back in there from the race. So good win to Blake Henderson. I think he may have ran out right there. That's all he could do. That's what he said in the race comms. That is all he could do before the fuel tank ran dry. But good win to Blake Henderson. And Matthew Smith coming in 2nd. And Matthew Stephen coming in P3.
Yeah, we'll get those 3 in the booth here. We'll be right back as we run to the intermission here, and I'll come back to Burnout Lane, talk to those top 3, and get some explanations on these strategies that you guys pulled off tonight. Big first win, though, for Blake. Owner admin, I'm sure he was really, really wanting this win, and being out front, he's probably praying that he had enough fuel, and he had just enough, like you said, for 1 extra lap around, and then the small little donut he just did was just enough. So a win's a win, so he got it.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. give me fire, give me that which I desire. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. On I burn.
All right, we are back for Burnout Lane with KS Gaming Broadcasting. As I'm joined in the booth by Ryan Pinnell and Terry Gabbard here. Terry, go ahead and take third place finisher Matthew Steven, the second Matthew in the top three. And Terry.
Terry, you're muted there, bud.
There you go.
There we
Sorry
go.
about that. That happens from time to time. Matt, I wanted to tell you, you had a really fast car. You had some of those really fast guys that were up front. They had issues early, partway through the mid of the race. And you were able to, catapult yourself into the third place position. Take us through your race. Take us through that last restart, how you was able to keep onto that position and come home third.
Yeah, I kind of got up there and just trying to hold some position. Car was a little edgy at times. And then on the last restart, I knew it could have come down to gas, so I started to save. And once I got the gap between fourth, I could just got behind me. I could let off a little more and just save the extra half a lap, 2 lap I needed, and make it on gas. So I'm just happy there was no caution at the end, and I was able to run it out like that.
Yeah, not having that caution towards the end of the race definitely helped some of those guys that were on strategy. Did you think that it was going to be a fuel-saving race or a tire type of race when you started, or did you kind of just have to work your way through that and say, I need to start saving right now?
At Indy, I always think that I've raced a lot of times here, and a lot of the times it ends up being tires or gas, and exactly what this one happened. So I was kind of happy I was thinking about that too.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, you come home third. You're going to take home a bronze medal. That's got to be really good for your championship implications as well as tonight's race. So good job to you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, Matt. Any shout-outs for you, bud?
Nope.
All right. I see that yellow and blue car. I don't think you have any sponsors on it or anything, so I was just wondering. But, yeah, congrats on third place, and we'll see what happens next week.
Thanks. Good race, everyone.
All right, we will get second place brought up here. That will be Matt Smith in the 29. Just won a race a couple weeks ago, so Ryan will interview him as soon as I can get him up here. All right, Matt is now joined us in the booth. Ryan Pinnell, go ahead and take our second place victor or second place finisher, the other Matt.
Matthew Smith in the 29 car. You come home second. Tell us about your race, buddy. I know that there at the end it was a little bit of fuel saving. How much fuel did you have it left in the tank there at the end of that race?
Well, first off, I wish I was the victor, just to make a joke at that one. But I had .2 laps left, and I wanted to time it to where I had at least one full lap left before I tried to make the run down for Blake. And if I would have done it one lap early, I think we would have had a side-by-side finish there at the end.
Absolutely. I saw you were closing in on them. The final results, you were about 1.4 seconds back, but I saw you just closing in and like you said, I think if you had maybe one or two more laps, or if you would have made that move just a little bit earlier, we could have had a side-by-side finish. But still, a great finish, coming home second place. Would you have done anything different if you could go back and do it again?
Yeah, I would have tried to make the charge a lap earlier. I was following Kevin Gibney there for a little bit, just trying to save fuel by staying in the draft, and he got loose out of one, and I just went around him because obviously with everything going on, he lost a lot of speed. So I'm like, well, I guess now it's time to start clutching it in because I knew it was going to be close, and I just wish I would have had another lap to get at it.
Absolutely, but still, at the end of the day, not a bad finish coming home P2. You have any shout outs to any of your fans or sponsors for tonight's race at Indy?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Brandon at E-Snacks and Ace of Apes. He sponsors the car this year. And want to give a shout out to my teammates. We all did good tonight.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on your second place finish. You almost had it, just a lap short, but still, congrats on your P2 finish, man.
I appreciate it. I'll go out there and get them next time.
All right, well, let me get our Indy winner, our real winner, up in here. We'll get Blake Henderson in that 25, getting his first win in the HTL iRacing League Season 2. All right, we got our winner up here. Blake, you got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, man, I got you.
All right, well, I talked to you before the race. I was trying to give you a few little pointers that I knew of. I'm going to probably just take the claim on that and say that's why you won, but I'm sure it wasn't. Because I'm not great at Indy, but you come home first. You get your first win of the season so far. You're the owner admin here. You helped me a bunch on the stream stuff with the graphics and giving me all the kind of information I can have for the streams. Tonight, you lead a few laps there. You were really fast. You were up to second at one point. You spun yourself. You went back to 17th. You were able to save it off of the pit road wall. We got a good look at that, and we were kind of surprised you didn't make contact at least or go down pit road. But you were able to come back out 17th. You were able to climb back up to second place again, and Alistair decided to pit a second time after the caution was thrown and got a black flag, and it put you out front, and from there it looked like you weren't going to look back. How close were you on fuel? And then give us a little bit of a rundown, just anything I missed throughout the rundown of the race.
Yeah, man, this isn't only my first win in my league. This is the first one I've ever gotten in any league, so this is definitely a special one. At Indianapolis, crown jewel. At the end there, I had like 0.2 gallons left. I was riding on fumes. I was clutching at every corner. But yeah, man, we kept coming back. The first spin that you talked about, and then we almost spun again, like in stage 3, and just had to keep working at it. I mean, I was in no way the fastest car out there. Alistair was definitely the fastest car out there. But I mean, we just played our strategy right. Me and Matt Smith decided to come down on lap 55, and we both ultimately barely got enough fuel in the car. But man, Indy is a hard track, but this isn't where I picture getting my first win. But man, I don't even know what to say, man. This is something else.
So can I at least take a little bit of the pointers? Did any of those pointers help you out here?
Yeah, sure. As long as you didn't jinx me in the broadcast, yeah, you can take it all.
I didn't pick you I don't think. Did I pick Blake? I don't remember who I picked at the beginning. Actually, I think I did pick Blake, and Ryan took the 38 of Dylan McDonald,
Yeah,
and Terry took the 51 of Alistair. So I'll take it. I picked you. Apparently, the commentator curse did not affect you. I was kind of worried when I saw you spin back to 17th, but climbing your way and clawing your way, I would say, all the way back up here and bringing home the victory on kind of a fuel strategy saving speed race. It came down to that, and you were able to get up front. You kind of never looked back. I'm sure you were looking in the mirror a little bit, maybe
I
at
was
Matt.
looking back a lot.
Okay.
I mean, I'll tell you this because I knew once we got like green, when I was running third behind Zach and Dylan, I knew they both had to pit, right? Because I could see their last pit. So those last 12, maybe 11 laps were maybe the longest laps I've ever ran in anything. It felt like every lap was like 20 minutes long. It was ridiculous. But man, can't believe we got one, man.
Well, I mean, to get your first win, I'm glad. I was kind of hoping for somebody else's first win. My buddy
I know
Corey
you wanted
Kobe.
Corey Kobe.
Yeah, it was my buddy from console days, racing with him a lot over on NNR on console. Broadcasted a few races over there too. I was the admin over there for the Truck Series. He was a two-time champion over there. So I was really hoping to call his first iRacing League win. But
Hey, but I ain't so bad. Come on, man.
hey, I'll settle for the owner admin of the new league that I'm broadcasting for. You sought me out on Twitter. I'll take it, and I picked you for the win. So maybe I'll pick you next week, and you'll get a second win. But yeah,
Say that now, wreck myself on lap one.
well, you did kind of wreck yourself. 10 laps
Hey.
into the race, so you're able to pull it off. Though you get the win, you're the points leader. This is going to add on to it with getting leading laps and winning. Any outlook on the rest of the season here for yourself now that you're out front with pretty good points and got the win under your belt?
For myself, I think we've gotten a lot of good races under our belts, right? We've had some ups and downs, but mainly no positives with Daytona and like Michigan. It felt good to get this one. I'm okay at Phoenix. Not looking forward to Sonoma, but until Memorial Day, that off day, but looking forward to Talladega as well. For the league, I think we're hitting our stride finally. I think the last few races have been getting better and better, and I mean, I'm going to be biased, but I think this was the best race of the season. We only had 7 incident cautions, which isn't terrible. Mostly clean racing, and yeah, all around pluses for me.
Yeah, I'll definitely take the credit for helping you with some pointers or whatever, even though
Oh,
it
yeah,
probably
once
didn't
again,
matter. But
Kurt, he coached me all my life.
yeah, I
actually,
don't think about
for
that.
this specific race, right? And you know what? All paid out. All to Kurt. No, nothing on me. No
I'll give you a few
strategy,
pointers for
nothing.
next week at Phoenix then.
Oh yeah, maybe we'll pull it off.
I did actually finish second there in the Road to Pro race in the next gen car, so maybe I could give you a couple
You better
pointers
give me
there.
those pointers then, man.
I did finish second there in the Road to Pro race. So I didn't even realize I had entered a Road to Pro race. I just clicked on what I thought was an official race, and it was a Road to Pro race. So was able to make it through there and finish out. So, but yeah, congrats on first place. It's going to extend your lead. Next week going into Phoenix, like you said, then Sonoma's coming up. I know Bryce joined me for broadcast over another league. He took a lot of pointers from that race, even though it was a truck race. He learned a lot from there. I think my brother Shad will be back for that race as well. He was really, really fast in the league that Bryce was watching or commentating with me. So I look for maybe Shad to be really fast at Sonoma. And then that all flip of a coin race Talladega comes up before we go to the Memorial Day break. A possibility of another win in there for any one of those tracks, really, I would think. So, congrats to you guys on.
It's wild that we haven't had a repeat winner yet. I think we're like 6 races deep.
That is true.
No one's won twice, so that's been pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now I hope that streak ends with me.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could be the first one next week at Phoenix if I give you enough pointers again. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. But yeah, great race on track. A lot of different battling. It was kind of entertaining to watch Alistair go from the front to the back to the front, and then go to the back again and then see if he was gonna make it back. And I did have a question though. Alistair did sit behind you for multiple laps there at the end. Was that strategy team play, or what was going on
It
there?
was actually it wasn't me or him helping me. It was actually more of me helping him because he wasn't sure. He was obviously faster than me, but he wasn't sure if he had enough fuel, and so he thought, okay, maybe if he finishes a lap down right, he'll have enough fuel. But he eventually just stayed in my toe for long enough where he had enough fuel and just went for it. So yeah, he was just, you know, taking it easy on me, and yeah, he was just trying to make sure he had enough fuel because even with that last second pit stop he made, he wasn't sure if he had enough in the tank for it.
Gotcha. And just to explain that rule, I'm pretty sure the reason why he got the black flag is because he did not pit on the first go around on the caution lap.
Yeah, I think so
Okay.
because I pit on the first go around,
Yeah, he
and he
didn't
said
pit the
pit road
first
is
one.
open for me, but it seems like he led a bunch of soldiers off the cliff because there's about like 3 or 4 of them that went in with him. So
Yeah, it was Corey Kobe, Bryce Boyer, and somebody else went with him. But
I think
yeah,
Gibney was the other one.
was it Gibney? Okay, so
I think so.
Gibney, I
I'm not
think,
sure.
pitted the first time around though, because he didn't get the black flag. I don't think
I can't
he was
remember
still up there in the
all
front
about
towards
it.
the end before he ran out or before he had a pit. But I really think it's just because they didn't pit the first time around. If
Mhm.
my theory on it is if you're going to top off, pit the first time and then just top off the second time and go to the back, which was his plan, but he just didn't pit the first time. So. I'm sure I was going to try to talk to Greg and the 44, but Greg obviously left the race, so
Yeah,
that was a little bit of an incident.
he left
We
a lot
caught
more
that
than
one.
just the race. So
Oh, well, we did watch the replay a couple times on that one. It was kind of entertaining for us up here. I'm
I
sure.
didn't see what happened, so I
Oh,
got I'll have to go back and look at it.
yeah,
So
it's pretty entertaining when you watch it. So, but yeah,
I'm
going to
sure.
next week, we go to Phoenix back here on Monday night. I'll try to go live again at 8:10, 8:15. Still looking for more people to jump in the booth anytime. Ryan and Terry were gracious enough to jump in here. I really appreciated them jumping in at the last minute here and coming up and really giving a lot of insight. These two are drivers. I'm nowhere near a driver in my opinion, so getting their expertise, at least of knowing the track, knowing how to drive, whether or not they had a ton of insight on the next gen cars or not, but they just as drivers they know what they're doing strategy wise and being inside of you guys' minds as well, thinking for themselves and what they would be doing. So I appreciate you guys coming up, Ryan and Terry. I think Terry's already gone, but really appreciate you guys coming up in here, and you guys are welcome in the booth at any point the rest of the season. We got a lot of races coming up: Phoenix, Sonoma, Talladega, Charlotte Roval, Kansas, Atlanta, Watkins Glen, Martinsville, Daytona, and then the All-Star race, and then we go into the playoffs, which is 7 races straight of Pocono, Fontana, Darlington, Daytona Road Course, Talladega, Bristol, and ending the season at Homestead, Miami. So
It
catch you
ain't easy.
guys. Yeah, it's not going to be a good rest of the season for a lot of guys, but we'll see who comes out and makes it to the playoffs. Ryan, any last words for you, bud?
No, man, it was a great race. Congrats, Blake, on your win. You know, I'm a owner and admin of my league as well, so it's always cool
Right
to
on
get a
hard.
win.
I think
Yes,
Blake
sir.
guessed that earlier.
Yeah, he did. I don't know how he guessed that.
I don't know. It's almost like it said it by your name or something crazy like
almost
that.
like it's in my name. Yeah, but man, it's always it's always so cool to win in your own league. So shout out to you. You had an
Thanks, man.
awesome race, and man, I loved calling it, Kurt. You know, anytime you want me back, just let me know, and I'll come up here and call a race with you, buddy.
Phoenix is next week. No.
I definitely appreciate it. I mean, like I said, you and Terry coming up here, a lot of insight on track. It's one thing to do it by yourself. It gets kind of boring, and it's a lot to move around, hitting different things in SDK, and remembering to say this, remember to say that, and paying attention to what's on the track and hitting instant replays. It's a lot to do by yourself. So having 2 other people, especially drivers with insight, to be able to come up and give that kind of strategy call or anything on track is definitely a blessing. And from what I understand, you guys broadcasted a while ago too, so it's definitely cool to have you guys in here. And like I said, you guys are welcome anytime. So next Monday, if you're not doing anything, hit me up and you can come in here and sit with me with Phoenix, and we'll go through Phoenix and watch them run around that course. But loved everybody out in there in the chat. I think we had a max of like 20 something or 30 something at one point, and hovered around the 20s most of the night. So really appreciate everybody being out there. A lot of the comments definitely appreciate that. And I know Mama Fuller was definitely pulling for the 5 and the 38, but unfortunately not happening tonight. We'll have
My
to come
bad.
back and watch another one. Blake ruined that for them, so Mama Fuller, you can blame Blake on that one. But Dylan
Sorry.
already has a win this season, so Wes is going to have to pick it up and keep up with his fellow teammate in other leagues. Not in this league, though, but he'll have to pick up a win at some point throughout the season and make his mama proud, especially with Mother's Day weekend coming up next week. So make sure everybody out there give a huge hug and love to your mom. Wouldn't be here without her, so definitely do that. If you got wives with kids or anything like that, also give a huge shout out to them. I got to give a huge shout out to my smoking hot wife who loves to let me do this. I'm sure she doesn't love it, but I'm going to say she loves it. Letting me do this and taking care of my son while we're doing this. You hear him sometimes in the streams acting up or just making some noise. But, yeah, really appreciate everybody out there, and we'll catch you guys next week at Phoenix.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Just waiting for him to do something stupid to Slushy. Turned right into him. Genius. What is wrong with you? What are you doing? Good lord, find another game. That guy's one of the worst people I raced against today. I'm doing one more after this, BB. That'd be hilarious. Yeah, exactly. I'm just pretending I'm not trying to pass you, by the way. Yeah, who gives a shit about